Hey everyone. I should probably make sure that I'm live. How is everyone today? And I don't have any questions. So if you guys have any questions, please type them into the chat. I will answer them in the order that I see them. Um, but one thing is I have it on slow mode to slow comments down to one every 60 seconds. So if you post something, you can't post another one for another 60 seconds. And you have to be subscribed to the channel. And that's just an attempt to slow down the spammers because they're spammers, they found me last time and I don't know. Well, I do know how they got through, but I'm not going to say. It's I have a lot of stuff set up to keep spammers off of the chat, but you know, they'll always find a way. Okay, so if no one has a question to start, I will start with a few thoughts about a question that came up in the public Facebook group, which was how to promote your business if you're a new Etsy business. And the first thing I would do if you have a brand new business, and you might think this is premature, but I would do it is set up an email list, whether it's just a simple, you can get like a free list from somewhere and set it up. I have a class on MailChimp. You do not have to buy the class. It will walk you through the whole thing, but you don't have to do that. And you can go to any one of these services that do email lists and kind of, hi, Lauren, and just sign up and get it started, just to start collecting emails. And you do have to send things out like, once a week, twice a month, whatever it is. But you need to start getting those emails because if you ever want to launch a collection or you want to have a sale or Christmas is coming and you want to tell people about your promotions, you need to be able to tell them. And an email list is a good way to do it. And it's the only form of contact that you actually own with your customers. Because if you're, on any kind of the social media platforms, they own the customers. It's not you. And you can connect with people, but it's not guaranteed. And it's not necessarily people who want to hear from you, but people who are on your email list have signed up to hear from you. And so you should get one of those started. That's a very simple win. It's easy to set up an email list. So go ahead and do that. And then start worrying about, promoting your shop in other ways. I would personally, I would think about, where do you interact the most already? Do you have a network of people already on Instagram? And do you actually talk to people on Instagram? And it's where the interaction is. Don't just say, oh, I like Instagram or TikTok or whatever it is. If you don't get people interacting with your account, then that might not be a good place for you. But think about that. Think about where are your customers, what's your customer demographic, and what's the purpose of the platform? Because I just updated my Pinterest class, and Pinterest is changing. It used to be, when it first started, it was definitely social media. They wanted you to interact with people. They wanted you to comment. Then it kind of turned into a visual search engine. That's how they referred to themselves for a long time. Now they're moving kind of in a shopping direction, and they are really encouraging people to interact again. So it's kind of flip-flop back to where it was. So you have to look at the intent of the people on each platform. Like, why are they there? Are they there to be entertained? Are they there for shopping? Are they there to find, for Pinterest, people are there to find ideas and to shop for things. And Pinterest actually has a higher shopping value when they look at whenever they see all the stats. People on Pinterest tend to buy things more often than people on other platforms. But if you have a Facebook group or you're members of a page that are very active and you have people that you contact on Facebook a lot, maybe you should start on Facebook. So look to see where you're already active and see if you can use that to start promoting your business. You have to be careful if you are interacting in other people's groups, because a lot of times promotion is not allowed. For example, in my group, you can't post links, and that's so that people don't end up just posting links to their stuff, because I've seen that in other Facebook groups where all it is people posting links to their products, and that's not the point of the group. So you can go find promotional groups if you want to do that, but in general, those are pretty much going to be other people promoting their stuff. They're not there to shop. So always think of, what is the intent of the group? What's the point? And you can be in Facebook groups and be helpful and add content and add value to the group without posting links to your stuff all the time. And if you have your Facebook profile, and all of your social media profiles need to be set up with your Etsy shop or your website, wherever you want people to shop, put your little bio in there, just fill everything out so that people can easily find your business. Because there's a lot of people, hi Susan, there are a lot of people who I go to look at their profiles to find their Etsy shop, and it's nowhere to be found. And I maybe will go look for, like, I'll kind of search and see if I can find any clue to what they sell or what their shop is. But most people will just click out. They don't have time. People have a lot of stuff being thrown at them. So make sure that your profiles are set up right. Make sure that it's easy to find your shop, and start by posting on your personal page and saying, hey, I started a business. This is my Etsy shop. If you guys could share it with your friends, I would appreciate it. Now I did a whole video about setting up a Facebook business page, and Facebook really does not want you to do business from a personal page because the controls are different. They show things differently. But hi, Mari. Is it Mari or Mary? I don't know. I would say Mari. Mari. Okay. Yeah, but Facebook personal and business pages are not the same. And Facebook doesn't want you to do business on your personal page, but it's okay to say to your friends, hey, could you share my shop? That's all. And if they share it, then people can come to your shop. And if you have your Facebook profile set up the right way, then people can find your shop. So make sure that everything is set up to make it easy to find your shop. And then I would find maybe one social media platform where you actually have to interact with people, and think about if you're already active on there, do that. And if you can take time to do Pinterest, I would do that, especially if you have a website, because Pinterest is still a visual search engine. There are benefits to doing Pinterest that go beyond just interacting with people. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Especially if you have a website. And Susan says, I was in a couple of Etsy groups, but there were a lot of spammers. Yeah. And, Facebook will show you groups. They're like, oh, these groups are suggested for you. And every night, or every now and then, every now and then, I will join one just because I'm curious. Like, they keep showing it to me, and I'm like, why? And it's just because it has Etsy in the name. Because I get in there, and someone will say, I just started on Etsy. Can someone look at my listing? And the only answers are people saying, hire me on Fiverr, and I will do your. It doesn't make any sense, and it's not good. It's not a good group to go and try to promote your stuff. It's just not good. And it's better if people find you organically. But if you have that email list set up, when they find you, they can sign up. And like I said, I do have a class. You don't have to buy it. They're like MailChimp, I know, has a really good walkthrough setup. Most of these services have YouTube videos. Generally, you can figure out how to do anything if you go to YouTube and just Google it on YouTube, search for it on YouTube, and the videos will come up, because most places now, most like service, software as a service, which is the SaaS acronym, most of those will have pretty good walkthroughs on YouTube, and you can figure out a lot of stuff from there. So I would get the email list set up. And this is talking about what you should do if you're a new business on Etsy, or just new in general. Get your email list set up, and then look around to see where your audience is, what social platforms you're already on that you could kind of leverage. Focus on that. You don't need to do everything. You can't do everything. And the problem is that when you do go on YouTube, there's videos for everything. There's videos saying you need to do this, you need to do that. And then you feel like you have to do all this stuff. And, people think that they can multitask. No, that's not how the brain works. And we've heard the research, but all of us are probably like, I am different. I am different from everyone who did this research. I'm different. No, you're not. None of us are different. It's all the same. Concentrate on one thing and get that really working and in place, and then move on to the next thing to add it in if you feel like it. Because there are times where you can just focus on one platform and not worry about the other ones. I don't do TikTok. I don't have enough time in the day to do stupid videos. And to me, TikTok is entertainment. And I know that people do a lot of business on TikTok, but they're not really selling the things that I'm selling. Okay. And I am just not interested. I'm not interested in putting another thing in there to add to my schedule. I have enough going on. So you really don't need to do everything, and it will still work. So, okay, does anyone have any questions? How did I talk about that for 10 minutes? Oh my gosh. I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's any other questions that came up. Somebody was asking about Google Analytics. Doc Pixel. Doc Pixel. I know that in the group. And she was asking do I have any videos about Google Analytics and setting it up? Google Analytics is changing next year in June 2023. They're changing to a different system. And there is a code that you get on Google Analytics that you put into your Etsy shop or your website, and it reports back. Like that code lets it pull information from that platform that it's on, and it will report your traffic and that kind of stuff in Google Analytics. But they're changing it next year. So I think that I do have videos up on my other channel, but how useful they're going to be in the short term, they'll be fine. But after next year, it's a different system. And the problem is Etsy has not changed that code in their back end yet. And, they've had a while to do it. They've had a while to update that, and they haven't done it. And I would not be surprised if Etsy doesn't even change it. And if we kind of lose access to Google Analytics for our shops, because it doesn't benefit Etsy as a platform to give us that information. It really doesn't. And I think they should, because I would use it, as someone who pays attention. But Etsy, it doesn't benefit them to have us know what kind of things brought people to our shops, because they want to hold on to that information and use it. Anyway, okay, Keisha says, I have a new shop. I just signed up for the 14-day trial for Marmalead to do my listings. Do you have a 2022 Marmalead video? I've got, it's all going to be the same. I use Marmalead kind of in a weird way. The first thing I would say is don't pay attention to the grades. And I've said that multiple times. I was thinking about asking the guys from Marmalead if they want to come into my public Facebook group to do another live soon, because there have been questions about how relevant Marmalead and any of these tools are now that Etsy has changed the search algorithm. And I don't know if you guys saw the video that I posted today on my other channel, but it's very relevant. The word order matching is still important, and it's not as important. It's not important in the way that Etsy says to do it, but it still is clearly what they're looking at for newer listings. So the Marmalead videos that are up are still going to be relevant, but that's all on my other channel. So I would go, and you can just Google Cara Bunton. If you don't know what my other YouTube channel is, it has a little bit more advanced videos than this one. What I would do is, I would still go in. What should you pay attention to? Ignore the grades. The grades are good if you understand what Marmalead is grading. And you have to keep in mind that the grades and all the ratings come from Marmalead, not from Etsy. Okay, so this is a third-party tool, and all of the keyword research tools that claim to show where your rank is and claim to show the sales and all that kind of stuff, they're all third-party tools. They're not getting all of that information from Etsy. Some of it is publicly available, but like the ones that say this is how many sales, that's not accurate. I've put my shop into those tools and they're just not accurate because Etsy doesn't report that. Etsy doesn't tell people that. What they're doing is they're going into your shops and they're taking anything that's publicly available and they're estimating. And you just have to assume everything is an estimate, okay? What you should be looking at in Marmalead is keyword suggestions. You should be looking at good short tail keywords that have good search and engagement. And then you should be looking for long tail versions of those where, like, let's say silver necklace. Everybody always uses silver starfish necklace, right? So let's say starfish necklace is a good short tail keyword. It gets a lot of search and engagement. Marmalead says that's a good, the competition is a little bit high, but starfish necklace is a good short tail keyword for search and engagement. Then what you want to do is add words to it. So silver, right? So silver, starfish necklace. You want to keep that in the exact word order, starfish necklace, but add other words to it. So it could be silver, starfish necklace, gift, or sterling silver, starfish necklace, just things that are more specific. That makes it into a long tail keyword, but it still has that short tail keyword in it. And Etsy sees the whole thing. Etsy doesn't read things, keywords, titles, and tags. When a search engine goes in, it doesn't just read things in sequence. It kind of hops around in there. But if it sees that exact word order match in that order, then it will say, okay, this listing is probably more relevant because it has the exact word order match, and it's the same as what that person typed into the search bar. So you want to get more specific by adding like silver starfish necklace instead of just starfish necklace, so that it can kind of whittle down the competition. But you want to keep that short tail keyword in there in that order so that it matches the relevance part for Etsy. Does that make sense? It's hard to explain this without having everything in front of me, but I do have a lot of Marmalead videos, and the way that I do SEO has not changed. It's totally white hat, which is basically where you try to help the search engine understand your listings as opposed to trying to trick the search engine. I don't do that kind of stuff. And as long as you keep it on the up and up, then the search engine likes you and you're fine. So the grades in Marmalead are there kind of to show you what you could be working on. Okay, so what you should do with the grades is if you see something that's very low, you can go in and look at that listing and see why they're grading it that way. Don't just say, this is a D and I need to change it. Go in and say, why are they making it a D? And if they're making it a D because they're saying that you don't have long tail keywords in the tags, that's okay. Because Etsy has changed a little bit, and that's not, and I know that Marmalead is updating their system as we speak. I don't know exactly what they're doing, but I had a conversation with them a while ago, and they're working on things to kind of respond to these changes on Etsy. But I like the grades because if I can see that something is really low, I can go and look at it. And usually it's because I'm missing tags. It's usually because I'm missing tags or I don't have anything matched in the title and tags, but I know that that's not really that important, so I ignore it. And just because a grade is high, it doesn't guarantee that you're going to get sales. And Richie and Gordon from Marmalead, that's one of the biggest problems that they have is getting people to understand that the grades are not going to guarantee sales. And sometimes you can get, let's say I get a really good grade on a listing because I used really good keywords, but those keywords aren't exactly what I'm selling. Well, that's not going to help me, right? So the grades are just there for you to kind of look at and decide whether you want to change that listing because of what it's telling you. But you have to go in and say, why is it saying that? And then decide for yourself whether you want to leave it or whether you want to change it. And some of my best sellers are C's. And if I ever see that I have an A grade on something, I will go in and lower it so that it's at least a B. Because to me, the A usually means that Marmalead is saying that I'm matching too much in the title and tags. Like they're saying, you have everything matched. And Etsy says that that's what they want, but it's not. That's not how Etsy is working, even though Etsy says that. And Etsy has not updated their search help section for 3 years. And we know that search has changed since then. So, yeah, you have to decide for yourself with the grades. I really, really, really like the storm feature in Marmalead because it gives you ideas for new keywords that you might not have thought of. And the storm feature, if I remember correctly, it shows you things that are related, but it also shows you things that other people have searched for who have searched for the thing that you're looking at. So it gives you ideas about what your customers are looking at, and you can find some really good ideas in there that I wouldn't have thought of. And I've used keywords that I found in Marmalead for new listings, and they work really well. But I never would have thought of that on my own. Let's see. I was thinking that using sign in all 13 tags was repetitive and would change it to decor, sign, wall hanging, display. No, repeating is not good. No, okay, look, see, this is the problem with explaining something without having it in front of you. You don't need to repeat anything. You want to have good keywords in your titles and tags. Just because tags are just keywords, that's all. And different places call different things tags. In Shopify, they're like sections. On Google, they're pieces of code. In Etsy, it's just keywords. Okay, so if you have sign somewhere else, you don't need it multiple places in there. And you should change it to decor, sign, wall hanging, display. I can't think of other words for sign right now. But use those spaces to put a variety of words in so that Etsy can really see that all of those words are associated with your listing, and it gives them a better idea of what it is, and it gives them a better idea of who to show it to. So you don't need to put sign in. It's not going to hurt you if you use it multiple times. but it's not going to help you either. So definitely go in and change that. If you have that in every single tag, you're kind of wasting space. Repeating that kind of stuff is not necessary and it doesn't really help you. But if you have a good short tail keyword that you found in Marmalead, just make sure it's in that order. So like silver necklace or like starfish necklace, don't put necklace starfish. If starfish necklace gets good search and engagement, don't go and move those words around. You want it to read in the right order for Etsy. Does that make sense? And you definitely don't need to repeat the same word over and over and over, because if it's in there once, Etsy knows what it is. And like I said, if you want to repeat it in because to you it feels like you want to make something make sense, then go ahead. It's not going to kill it. It's not going to hurt your listing, but it just takes away space that you could be using to put something else in. Okay. That sounds more like you were thinking, I'll look at their storm feature. Yeah, I love the storm feature. I like the way that you can make lists and keep lists in there, because then you can keep track of everything. And I like the stuff at the very, like if you have a keyword that you type in and you scroll all the way down, there's other suggestions and that kind of thing. And that's really valuable because it gives you ideas. And really, you don't have to research every keyword. I don't. You really don't. If you know that something accurately describes your listing, put it in the listing. And I will take it one step farther. Sometimes I don't say this because I know that it probably confuses people. You have to assume that every search tool is low, or they're off a little bit. They're off somehow. And it's because it's third-party information, right? Etsy doesn't give out the search terms that people find on Etsy. There are ways to find that because there are different programs that exist online that gather that kind of data, but it's never 100% complete. And a lot of keyword research tools are off if the data set is smaller. Because you guys know, like the more, like if I said, I just did a survey and 100% of people agree that Coke is better than Pepsi. And you're like, how many people did you survey? I'm like, I asked one person, 100% agree. Okay. That's not a good survey. Okay. So it's not a good data set. If you ask a million people, then you can get better information and get a better estimate of how people feel, really. So the bigger the data set, the more accurate the answer is going to be. So for some of these searches that are real niche searches, they're all the tools. It's not just Marmalead. The one that I use for Google, it's the same way. The smaller the data set that they have to look at, the more they have to kind of make assumptions. And so I always assume that when it says, less, I think Marmalead used to say, it used to actually have the number, like it gave you an exact number of searches per day, per week. I think it was per week when they first started out, or per day. But I think it says less than 25. I don't remember. I think it's like less than 25 a month or a week. I always assume that it's higher than that. And I don't worry about search and engagement for long tail keywords because that's not how they work. Long tail keywords don't work the way that people think they do, that everybody finds them in the exact word order. No, that's not. No. What happens is you want to get the short tail keywords for good search and engagement and don't look at the competition. And then you want to find other words to add to that short tail keyword that makes the competition lower. It's a two-step process. Okay, so first short tail, then long tail. For the short tail, look at search and engagement. For the long tail, look at competition. Okay, and as long as you know that short tail keyword gets good search and engagement, then you don't need to worry about it because you know that someone's searching for it. And it's the same process I go through when I look for blog articles to write. I look for things that I can write about that are searched, but not too much based on the tools. But I know, and this is the way that Etsy is working now. So let's say that let's say that I make edible butterflies. That's what I make. I make a lot of edible butterflies, but people call them cupcake topper butterflies, cake butterflies, wafer paper butterflies, edible butterflies. Okay, so I can't put every single one of the ways that people describe them. I probably could try, but then I'm saying butterflies a lot, and it's really not necessary. If Etsy knows that wafer paper butterflies is the same thing as edible butterflies, it'll show that listing for both things. So you can be found for that exact keyword that you research, which let's say it's edible butterflies. But then I also know I'm going to be found for related keywords. So that would be cupcake topper butterflies or butterfly cake decorations or whatever it is. So I don't worry too much about being exact with the keywords that I choose. I just put a good amount of relevant descriptive information in the titles and tags, and now the descriptions. And that way Etsy knows that this is related to that and they can show it for both things. And that's what they're doing these days. Not very well. They're just starting out, but that's basically how Google works, and it's how Etsy is trying to work. So you definitely want to get a good word order match because, like I said, if you watch that video that I posted this morning on my other channel, it's definitely still a big piece of it, especially for newer listings that Etsy doesn't have a lot of information about. That word order match is important. But once the listing is up there and they have more information, it'll show it for more related searches, and then you don't have to worry so much about being super precise. Okay, Lauren says a possible idea for beginning Etsy video is how to fill out the about page and policies. Yeah, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go, I'll do that this week. I was going to go through the shop dashboard and go through everything, but I could go through the whole homepage too. Yeah, that's a good one because a lot of people do the about section wrong. That's my pet peeve. The about section should not be about you. It should be about your business. If you go to Apple, the about section is about Apple, not about Steve Jobs. If you go to Nike, I don't even know who's in charge of Nike. It's about Nike, not whoever started Nike, right? So you can add yourself to it because we kind of are our businesses, but it should be about the business and what it'll do for the customer. That's an idea. I was going to do that with the video, but I could do that. Okay. Dan says, you know exactly what comprises the Etsy app and other Etsy pages. That's a junk category. That's what we call that. It says including editors' picks, the homepage, and favorites, but what else? The most of my traffic by far. Okay. You're in the eShop program. You can go into the program, and there's a whole section in there where they used to have it laid out in a different way. So you'll actually be able to see the old format, okay? And this is the traffic on Etsy section in the eShop program. One of those videos in there has the old format, and they used to divide that out so that you could see it was people's favorites, shopping cart, the homepage, suggested for you. You might also like the forums. What else? I mean, any place, announcements, any place on Etsy where there is a link that could potentially go to your listing, that is included in that section. It's a big pile of junk and they don't separate it out anymore. I really wish that they had kept that. That's one of the things that they simplified. I don't know why. I thought it was much more valuable when you could actually see that there were different places that traffic came from. But go into the eShop program, and there is a video in the traffic on Etsy section, which will show you, and that'll answer it right away, because that's a visual description of what, I mean, just basically it's anywhere that Etsy puts links that could go to your shop. So if on the homepage, there's a section that says shops you might love, and they click on that, then that's in that category. It's kind of a mess. It is a mess. I don't know, Phil Knight, what that's about, Jennifer. I don't know. Okay, another topic might be a very basic primer to managing time with an Etsy business. Yeah, that's just get your work done. I don't know. I mean, that's the kind of thing that everybody has to kind of do for themselves. And managing your time is really very personal, because how many schedules have we all tried to follow that someone else said, this works great for me, and it just does nothing for you? Absolutely nothing. Because people kind of work in different ways. And for me, I kind of do time blocking. Like there's the time blocking thing. There's the people that have like one long to-do list and they choose 5 things to do a day. And then eventually you throw out half the stuff on your to-do list because you never do it. There's all different kinds of ways. You really have to kind of figure out what works for you and just do it that way. For me, I kind of get all of my product-based business stuff done in the morning. And then I do have my phone. The only notification that I have on my phone from Etsy is when someone convos me. I don't hear about sales. I don't care. I don't need to hear, I got a sale, because I do that in the morning, fill it all in the morning. When I get a notification that somebody sent me a message, I respond right away because I'm here working during the day. So that's just part of that. Oh, Phil Knight was the founder of Nike. Oh, okay. I don't know. I don't know. I'm thinking Bobby Knight. He's the guy that throws the chairs, right? I saw the word Knight. I'm like, I don't know. Anyway, I would say turn off your notifications. That's one way to manage your time. Keep your head out of your phone and avoid the dopamine hits. And that's what this is. It's a little dopamine hit box. But the only thing that I have on for notifications is if someone sends me a convo because I want to answer those quickly. And I would say that that's really the only thing that you need to make sure that you answer quickly, because that could be the difference between somebody buying from you and someone going over to the next shop. Because a lot of times they'll just send a message to 20 people and see what answer they get back fastest. I think some new Etsy sellers don't realize they should be answering combos quickly. Yeah, that's true. I could do that. And I just did it, but I could do a separate video on it because I know people don't watch the lives in rewind. Okay, could everybody give this video a thumbs up? I would appreciate it. We have 35 people here. And it does actually help the video with YouTube if people give it a like. And likes are free. All right, I can't think of anything else specifically to go over. Does anyone else have any other questions? Because I could wrap this up if there's no questions. I could do a quick little live on this channel once a week for a while if I'm not too busy. I don't know. I do lives on my other channel. If you're new to this channel, I do lives on my other channel on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Jan says, I had yet another convo from an interior decorator asking for free sample. If you're a new seller, and I know that Jan is not, so she knows the answer to this. If you are a new seller, don't get all excited when someone asks you for a free sample. Okay. I've seen people get like super, I'm so flattered. It's so flat. They're asking me for my products. Like, no, they just want free stuff. No. If you have a working relationship, like for example, Jan owns an art gallery. If you like have a working relationship with someone in your town and you know they're not going to destroy your paintings, that's up to you whether you want to do that. If somebody just sends you an email or a convo and asks you for free stuff, just mark it as spam and throw it away. This is the kind of thing where influencers, and this is a very general, broad statement, okay? And you really should look at each request as they come in. But I've done wedding cakes. I did wedding cakes for 20 years before I was only on Etsy. And constant requests for free cakes, constant. And I don't know if they thought I just pulled the cakes out of my magic oven and didn't have to work on them, and then it didn't cost me anything to make. But a full wedding cake will cost quite a bit of money to make, and it takes a long time. So whenever anybody called me and said, "Oh, would you like to donate to our charity event?" I would think, okay, well, number one, is it a charity that I personally would donate money to? And it's easier to just donate the money. You can just say no, but I will donate to your event because I support your charity, and then you can buy a cake. You can buy cake at Kroger and sell it, serve that to people. And it's, you have to decide for yourself whether you want to work with the charity. Okay. If it's a business, like Jan says, an interior designer, they can buy your painting. If they're going to be doing that for a client, then they should be buying your painting and selling it to the client at a higher price. That's up to them. people should buy your products if they're going to use it for something. And you will get tons of requests on Etsy. Do not feel guilty for not answering them. Or you can just write back and say, I'm sorry, I've already donated to my charities for the year, or I only have certain charities that I donate to, and those obligations have been, taken care of already. And honestly, these people are sending messages to 100 people. Like I said, they're sending messages out and they're just hoping that somebody answers them. So don't feel bad about it. And there also are scammers. And this is what I was saying about the influencer thing, because you get a lot. There's a lot of D-list celebrities who really think they deserve free stuff because they had a 10-minute appearance on a reality show on a cable network that nobody watches. And they'll call themselves reality TV star so-and-so. And you're like, I've never heard of you, nor have I heard of your show. And here's the actual truth. If you do get a celebrity client, you shouldn't be screaming about that. You shouldn't tell people your clients' names. I don't care how famous they are. If the celebrity client, is going to go on a TV show and say, oh, I got this from so-and-so, that's very nice. But it doesn't matter. I have sold to so many celebrities. And I don't think anybody knows it because I don't talk about my celebrity client names because that's customer information. That's private. You shouldn't be talking about your customers. It doesn't matter how famous they are. And, my stuff has been on TV shows. I've designed things specifically for big companies. So what? It doesn't do me any good, in the long run, because that's customer information and you shouldn't be talking about that. Now, if you're in a magazine or something and that's publicly available, you can say as seen in and then put that in your bio or whatever you want, but you can't talk about customers. Sorry. And so when people ask you for free stuff, just if you want to respond, you can just say, I'm sorry, I only donate to certain charities and those obligations have been taken care of already. 9 times out of 10, if it's a legitimate request, it'll be somebody that you've worked with in the past, or you will reach out to them. Okay. Most influencers who have any kind of an audience that's worth reaching do not reach out to people to say, hey, will you give me some free stuff? They just don't do that. You have to contact them. And although the rules might be changing now because so many people think that they're influencers, chances are that I get people constantly sending me requests for free stuff, and I go and put whatever blog they say into my Google tools, and it's like, yeah, your domain authority is lower than mine. Why should I give you stuff? It's not worth it. And I will 100% tell you that in general, in my experience, not in general, in my experience, the only thing that you get when you give a free thing away because you think you're going to get publicity is you're going to get more calls from the people who came there and said, who made your cake? And they say, oh, Kara Bunton did. And she donated it. And then they call me and try to get me to give them free stuff. I never got one bit of business from donating anything. So that's why you should only donate to causes that you agree with or you donate to anyway, and then you don't have to worry about it. Then it's just your donation, as opposed to you never do anything for publicity, never do anything for exposure. And we've all seen the memes. People die from exposure. Exposure doesn't pay my rent. Well, it's true. You can't run a business that way. So anyway, did the free cake child first birthday one time for an influencer mention in her Instagram a blog post about setting up the party, not one order from it. Yeah. If you did, you did the free. Okay. So you did the free cake one time for an influencer to mention it in her Instagram and blog post. Yeah. And it doesn't help. It doesn't make a difference because people aren't looking for that. Now, I will say that the only times that I've gotten steady, and this is in general is true, the only times that I've gotten steady traffic from bloggers is when they have bought the product from me and they don't say anything about getting free stuff. And then they use it in their blog and they link to my shop and people come to my shop. And I have a couple of bloggers who have posted pretty popular articles and it drives people to my shop. And I know exactly when they reposted those articles on social media because the orders for those things start ticking up again. But they bought them. They didn't ask for free stuff. And, you know, never do anything for free unless you offer, basically. Unless you're the one that's offering it, don't do it for free. And what you can do with bloggers, if you want to approach someone, like if there's someone who has a blog that's very fitting with your brand or your business or whatever, and you think that you would benefit from being mentioned in it, you can tell them that Etsy has an affiliate program. You can email them or just look through the blog and see if there are affiliate links in there. You can check that out by looking at the URLs when you click on a link. And if they are an Etsy affiliate, you can send them an email and say, I've followed your blog. I think that my product would be great. And I see that you're an Etsy affiliate. So here's my Etsy shop link. And if you would like me to send you a set for free, that would be great if you would feature it. But don't do things that are super expensive. Don't let them choose. You know, when generally when people say, can I get a free such and such? It's not cheap. They're not asking for the cheapest thing. They want something expensive. And then, like Keisha says, you never get any benefit from it. So, no. Jan's talking about an event. Yeah. The TV shows, they don't pay you. They do it for funsies. Yeah. I've done stuff for TV shows and movies. And there was one company that I told the guy, I think it's $20. And he thought it meant like for each thing that I was making for him. And I'm like, I wish I could charge that, you know. But even then he had a hard time getting the company to pay for it because they just make it so hard for them to write out expense reports and stuff. Anyway, yeah, I had a collector who figured out I donated to a local gala event yearly, and he stopped buying from me directly, waited for the gala event and bought paintings for cheap. And he told me about it. I stopped donating to that event. That's right. Yeah, because come on. And like I said, if you really feel bad because you don't have time or you don't have the inclination to make something for somebody, just give them a donation if it's something that you want to donate to anyway. So people don't realize how long it takes. They don't realize the time and effort and materials that go into it. And for some wedding cakes, I could easily spend just like $300 on ingredients because they were big and I used good ingredients, you know? So that's not time. That's just the ingredients. So when people say, hey, can you make a cake for free? I'm like, no, I can't. No, I could, but I won't. Yeah, but that's something I think that don't be flattered if people ask you because they're sending the same email to 20 people. Just spam, hit it as spam, and that's all you need to do. And Susan, I'm sorry you had to go to a funeral today. That is always not a good day. So I'm sorry about that. Okay, I think I'm going to wrap this up. I don't see any more questions coming in. If you guys have ideas about videos you'd like me to see, I think there were a couple of good ones. Let's see. Yeah, Lauren had some good ideas. And I was going to go down and do like a dashboard thing. I kind of got off my routine. I was posting every day on this channel last week, and then the 4th of July weekend hit. I took the weekend off and it was a long weekend. So that's all it takes for me to, stop working. But definitely, if you have ideas, post them. I hope you guys have a good afternoon. I will talk to you later. I'm going to go make some cake decorating videos. I went and bought undecorated cupcakes at the grocery store, and they looked at me really weird, but they sold them to me because I'm not going to bake them. And I'm going to ice them and put them on videos. Okay. I will talk to you guys later. Have a good afternoon.